break down another NBA DFS slate after a weird Sunday one where we saw guys like Austin Rivers go for 60 points. Kind of expect the rest of the year to have weird stuff like that happen. Like tonight, probably going to see something like that from BOBAN, hopefully. As long as he gets to start and gets the 30 minutes that I think it's very possible. I'm going to jump right into this one. First game is the Thunder versus the Suns. Definitely has some interesting plays. Start out with Devin Booker on top. I probably won't have any, but with all his really cheap centers and power forwards, maybe I will. 8.7. He's been great in the bubble, scoring a ton of points and racking up a ton of assists, which that's the big point for. He's always been able to score, but playing a lot more on ball. Matchup with the Thunder. Me and Gator have talked. Dort has, when I've watched him, has seemed like a pretty legit defender. Watched him play really well against Jamal Murray. Did pretty good against the Wizards. I believe he guarded Troy Brown Jr. He was fine, but how good he's been playing, he was not at that level. Devin Booker, obviously, on a different level than those two right now in their careers, but it's 50 or 40 points every game in the bubble, basically. So at that price, a floor of 40, you definitely have no problems with that. He always has a 70-point ceiling with his ability to score 50-plus real points. Then going on to DeAndre Ayton. I've been loving playing this guy. I finally got a price increase, so it kind of stinks, but I still have interest, especially if we don't really know what's going to go on with the Thunder. But if Mike Muscala starts at the center or Darius Bazley for some reason would draw a start, even though we said yesterday we thought Thomas Bryant might dominate him, DeAndre Ayton definitely will, as he's just more of the bully ball type guy, and those two dudes have no chance of guarding someone at his size and talent. So definitely have interest there. Ricky Rubio, it's tough to play him. I have no problem with him, but Cameron Payne has actually been playing really well, so he's stealing a lot of minutes. It's Ricky Rubio really hasn't touched 30. He's been at 29 and 28 the last two for minutes. So it kind of stinks to try to get a ceiling game, but he's still been playing well, so I can't really knock him too much. Cam Johnson, another surprising player in the bubble. Matched up with Gallinari, and love attacking Gallinari. He's old and slow, even though he's not been playing too many minutes. But the backups on that team aren't any much better in defense. Darius Bazley, I'm not scared of him at all. Cam Johnson's minutes went down last game a little bit. I didn't get to see if that was for foul trouble, so it's something to look at. But I'm not too worried about it. Every other game's been really, really high minutes. So I think it's just a one-game thing. After him, Mikal Bridges, still, it's just hard to get for him to get a ceiling because of more of a defender, and he's fine offensively. Just with all the other guys, it's really tough for him to also get all these points. But the Suns have been the only team undefeated in the bubble, and it's kind of surprising. But like they've had the talent. The players are really solid. Finally getting a couple high picks actually pay off for them. Last guy to mention is Saric. Low 20s minutes. He's been good, but unless one of the biggest get rolled out, I just don't really see a reason to play him. Over to the Thunder. They're kind of tough to gauge early on because Noel and Adams Adams was expected out, then was in, then out again, and Noel I don't think he's on the injury report, and then randomly got ruled out. So it's hard to tell right now. If both those guys were ruled out, I was big on both yesterday. Muscala was the cash play, and I liked Bazley a lot for GPPs. It's going to be the same thing for me today. Muscala, I think, he got 28 minutes, so that's really nice at the price. He's a really good DFS player when he gets minutes. And at 3.2, I don't see a way he doesn't 5x in this one. DeAndre Ayton's defense not great. But I still like Baisley as well. After them, Chris Paul, he's been really good in the bubble, but just not great DFS wise. He doesn't get a ton of minutes right now either. When the playoffs come, it's going to be really fun playing Chris Paul early on, as long as he doesn't get too inflated of a price, which I don't think he will. But he's just been right around the 40-point mark, and 8.2. It's really, you kind of want that 45 to 50 range. SGA, he's been a tough one. He burned us twice already in this. Every time that his price gets down, we play him in good matchups, and he just doesn't produce. Really a big fan of his game, just DFS-wise. It doesn't really translate too much unless he'd be way better if it was Chris Paul being rolled out and not Dennis Schroeder. But he's getting high minutes, a lot of shots, but his ceiling really isn't there with Chris Paul, and so 7K is going to be a hard pass for me. Gallinari, complete fade, 20 minutes, 22 minutes in his last two, 6.2. Even though he pretty much hit value last game, it takes a miracle for him to hit value at that price range in those minutes. Guess I gotta mention Dort. He's been really good lately. Don't really like playing him in DFS because he's a defender, usually just on their best guy. But he's been hitting the 3-ball lately, and even like getting after rebounds, and has a lot to do with like teams don't really respect him. They help onto someone driving. He just gets a wide open 3, but he's been making them, so it's at least worth noting. Over to Dallas, Utah. This is going to be a big game. Don't want to say that there's potential blood because that kills me every single time, but there is. No Luka, no Porzingis, no DFS. So you're gonna get. It's gonna be tough to gauge. I'm gonna play it as it's gonna play competitively, but we'll see how that goes. Guy at the top, Tim Hardaway Jr. I think he's going to go overlooked because everyone's going to jump to the value. But I think if this game's close, he's going to get a ton of minutes. And anyone that knows basketball knows a lot of minutes for THJ means a ton of shots. Like I would guess around 25 this game. And at 5.6, that's a steal. He's a really solid player. Especially in his days with the Knicks when he was allowed to chuck up all those shots because they were so terrible. But Jazz don't really scare me as much as they used to. They're good defensively still, just not like don't want to target them. So after that, you're going to go down to it's going to be between Trey Burke and DeLon Wright. I'm a way bigger DeLon Wright fan. I think he's just a better basketball player. But if Trey Burke starts, he's going to be right there with Tim Hardaway Jr. They're going to be fighting to chuck up their shots. They both just want to score. Whoever starts, they're probably going to be a lock for me. Hoping it's right, but it's probably going to be Trey Burke. That'd be my guess because he's been the one drawing all the starts. So you can't really. Honestly, they're both in play. Like I still have interest in DeLon Wright and GPPs because the minutes are still going to be, should be there. They've been kind of weird with minutes lately, but yeah, that's how I would attack that one. The next decision, I'm going to guess Maxi Kleber and Boban both start, and I'm going to have a lot more interest in Boban if he starts. If Maxi Kleber ends up starting at the 5, I'll have a lot more interest in him because we all know that Rudy Gobert, one of the best defenders in the league, but does not defend those guys that stretch the floor very well. So he's going to get a ton of open looks if he's playing the 5. If he gets Royce O'Neal, not as interested at all. But I do expect Boban to start, and because he can really he doesn't Rudy Gobert doesn't really do anything that's like scary that like him being slow could hurt. So I do expect him to start, and I expect him to really do Boban things like double. If he gets 20 minutes, pretty much double lock. But he's probably everyone in the DFS world is love with BOBAN, and so I expect expect his ownership to be like massive, like probably pushing 70s, 80s. I think another guy to note is Justin Jackson. He's been getting mid-teens minutes lately. Wouldn't be surprised if he started over Maxi Kleber, but I expect Maxi to start. But if Justin Jackson did start, I wouldn't be surprised. Doesn't really do anything crazy, but he's had big games in the past, so he's definitely worth noting. On to the Toronto versus Bucks game. It's a tough one. Teams don't really have too much to play for, especially against each other. This is like especially with the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid's injuries. This is kind of like the major expected for the Eastern Conference Finals. So part of me is like they won't show each other too much. Another part of me is saying they've already shown each other everything they have to offer, so why not? Giannis has been an insane matchup nightmare for Toronto. Really, you have Pascal, who's just too small for Giannis. You have Marc Gasol, who's too slow. But if he gets his price came back down. If he gets that 32-minute mark, he's gonna have he's had monsters. He's averaged like 20 rebounds against the Raptors. I expect the same thing here if he gets those minutes. Giannis is always a top play any slate that he's on. Chris Middleton, his price is still up there. He's been playing 45 in 3 of the last 4, so and I won't play him, but definitely have to consider him. He's been shooting terrific and getting assists, so that's anytime he's doing that, he has that high potential. But I think Eric Bledsoe coming off his minutes limit kind of could end up hurting that a little bit. Which, speaking of Eric Bledsoe, he's 31 minutes last game. 5.4, definitely of interest. I hate playing Eric Bledsoe. Even if one of the games Giannis misses, I hate playing him because I just don't think he's very good. But he's a good DFS player, if that makes sense. Brook Lopez, another guy who's been absolutely lights out for probably been Milwaukee's third best player to this point, and by probably, I mean definitely. It's 50 DK, 30, 46, 33. Shooting the ball great, getting a lot of block shots, even rebounding, which is weird for him. Well, it shouldn't be weird because he's 12 foot tall, but still he doesn't do it very often. He just usually lets Giannis get all the rebounds. So they won't give him a price increase, so it makes it tough. It's going to be tough to play him, though, because you're going to have 2 really good center options, especially if Steve Adams and Noel, or even if just Steven Adams miss, you're going to have 2 really tough fades at center at the 3K range, so it'll be tough to play him, but definitely worth noting. For the Raptors, Kyle Lowry, 8.6 is tough. I'd probably rather play Devin Booker, but Kyle Lowry always has that 60, 70 point upside because he does rebound and get a lot of assists, and he just gets a ton of minutes. But matchup not great. Him and Van Vliet both haven't had much success against the Bucks. My lean would be Van Vliet though, his price is better, and they really play same minutes, have same type of usage, and you just get the 1.3K discount. Other than those 2, I really don't have much. Siakam, I guess, is in play. His price is getting back down. He just rebounds 1 rebound, 2 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 6 rebound, assists, 3 assists, 0 assists, 1 assist, 3 assists, and it's kind of where Siakam was making his money. He's always scoring, but he's usually doing a little bit of everything. So the fact he's not doing that, plus this matchup, it's going to be tough for me to play him. But the price point does make him very tempting. Marcus Gasol, if Serge Ibaka starts, I'll have interest, but I don't really see him starting in this one. Maybe he definitely could, actually. But if he doesn't start, even though he went 43 points off the bench last game, I still just don't like doing that. I'd rather play him when he's playing 32 minutes. Marcus Gasol, he's been playing over 20 points in 3 straight, and at 4K, that's all you really can ask for. He's had good games against the Bucks. I just checked. He had a double last time out, but he was also getting like a 30-minute range instead of the low 20s. So not really much interest there. And also with all the centers, it does make it tough as well. Indiana, Miami, this one has some interest. If you guys don't remember, pre-bubble, T.J. Warren and Jimmy Butler got in a big fight. Jimmy Butler was saying how he had the game circled on the calendar. He's calling T.J. Warren a bum. And it's funny now that T.J. Warren's been the best player in the bubble, so it makes the matchup very interesting. T.J. Warren probably can't play him at 8.4 against Jimmy Butler. And I'm mad Jimmy Butler at that. But anytime these guys have those narratives, it does make it tempting. T.J. Warren dropped 39 last game against the Lakers. Oops. But that price does make it really tough. 8.4, even like 39 points. Still only got 47 DK. The ceiling is there though, because he has been terrific, especially if his defense and rebound. When he puts all three of those together, you get those 80-point games. So after him, Malcolm Brogdon was really good last game as well. Played that heavy, a weird 40-minute games. He usually does not draw that, but anytime he does, he has upside. As he scores, that's the biggest. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I really wish the Bucks kept him over Bledsoe. They'd be a much better team with that. But so yeah, if he gets his minutes, I'm gonna have a ton of interest, even against a really good defensive team in the Heat. Miles Turner, tough matchup, but he's honestly like a guy that I had so much interest in coming into the bubble without Sabonis. Just really good score. He only had 25 minutes last game. I guess the Lakers aren't the best matchup for him. The Heat are a better matchup just because he's going to need to be out there against Bam, but wouldn't expect anything too high. Oladipo also got big minutes last game and paid off for it with his 38. He's been really good in the bowl too. A lot of shots you're gonna see get thrown up by him. He does rebound assists a little bit, which is always a plus. But another tough match. He's gonna be more of a guy like if you end on him, then no problem with that. Over to the Heat. They've been kind of funky lately, but they're expecting to get Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic back. So it does make it a little weirder. Jimmy Butler at 7.2, I do have a lot of interest in. They could limit him, which would be not ideal. But at 7.2K, he's going to play a lot of point guard, especially with none out. Kind of expect Tyler Hero has just been way, way too good. I talked to Gator about this. I don't know why Kendrick Nunn gets more minutes. He had the hot start to the year, but Tyler Hero is way better at basketball. I saw that massive game from him last time out, and I think he just makes the Heat better. He makes him way more dangerous as a shooter. Especially like Jimmy Butler is a fine point guard, so I hope they kind of do that. And so I do have a lot of interest in Jimmy, especially with the narrative on the line too. I actually think that he'll take it way more personal. Bam, finally getting back to normal pricing. So that stinks, but he's Miles Turner. He can definitely beat him. But 7.9K for a center on the slate is going to be really tough to pay with all the values. And all the role players for the Heat, I don't have much interest in, just because with Dragic, I do. If he ended up starting, I'd really, really like him. But he's still gonna, with none, he's gonna get around 28, 29, and he's actually I don't mind him off the bench either, because the minutes will still be there, and his usage is just awesome. And he's priced under 5K. He's actually gonna be one of my favorite plays. I don't know if I'll need the value because of the cheap guys, but I definitely have a ton of interest in Goran here. depending on how lineups build. I haven't started building it, but could end up getting guys like Giannis will definitely be in play this. Might be able to get Giannis, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, all of them, or even LeBron, Michael Porter, all those guys with the value here. Yeah, but other than that, I don't really have much interest in Miami Heat. Now, last game is Denver LA. Denver's been really frustrating. One game they won't play Jokic in the fourth, say they want to rest him. The next game, he plays 40. And on top of that, Jamal Murray, who's been dealing with a hamstring injury, just randomly comes back hasn't played in the bowl and plays 40 minutes. So, because of that, I'm going to have interest in both those guys. And Michael Porter. Michael Porter continued to be my favorite player in the bowl. 45 minutes last game, 48 DK points. Yeah, he gets a tough matchup. He'll probably be with LeBron or AD when he's out there. But all three of those guys are really the only ones I want to play from this one. Jamal Murray, I have a ton of interest in. I'm not scared of the backcourt of the Lakers with no Avery Bradley. And if he's going to get that many minutes, 25 shots, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Yeah, I like Jamal Murray a lot here. Definitely still feels like more of a GPP play just because I can't trust them to play him 40 minutes again. But it is worth a lot of consideration. Same goes for Michael Porter. Over to the Lakers, LeBron's price tag is really nice. They don't have anything to play for, so I don't see myself playing him. But if he were to get full dosage of minutes, that price point for him and AD both very interesting. Yeah, but I just can't see playing any Lakers in this one. I guess you can play one of the wings like Caruso or Dion Waiters, because no KCP, they're gonna get a little extra minutes. Maybe even no Danny Green. So those guys do have tempting price points. But that being the last game, there's so much value. I just don't see the need to play a dude that sits in the corner all game and pray that he gets his 3 shot to go down. So yeah, that'll about do this one. Just make sure you're checking around game time locks, as there's probably going to be a lot of news today. And really hoping for a BOBAN day today, as I really expect it, and I love watching BOBAN. So, yep, good luck, everyone. See you tomorrow.